Warning, the following audio transmission is based on theory and is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's Doomsday and its affiliates will not be held liable for anything your dumbass does. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everybody, to It's Doomsday Podcast. Today is May 27th, 2023. Time is 21:09, and the gentleman shaking a BC powder in the background is everybody's favorite little prepper, SafePrep.
I knew that's why you were smiling, because you knew what I was doing.
I do. I heard that little BC powder packet start going, and then bam.
I was like, oh, God, he's recording. Oh, God.
So for those of you guys that don't know SafePrep and I met on to TikTok. We hang out occasionally outside of TikTok, and I got a wild hair up my ass, guys, and my thought process was I want to bring you guys more episodes, but it's hard to come up with content alone, and it's hard to fill like a full, 30, 45-minute slot with information. So I got with good old SafePrep here, and I was like, hey, dude, what if we did a thing kind of like Safety Sundays, where I drop an episode on Sundays for you guys? That's something we don't typically do. And we just hit the finer details and points of a prepper-related or homesteader-related topic. Short, quick, to the point, 10 to 15-minute episodes. You can listen to this shit on the way to church in the morning, or, possibly if you're leaving the bar that late, hungover on your ride home, right? Or potentially still drunk. So, SafePrep, thoughts so far?
On the way to church. Yeah.
Yes, on the way to church. So anyway, the topic of today's episode for Safety Sundays is gun safety. Now, okay, there's a few reasons why I wanted to do this topic. And the main reason is all the controversial shit going on in the media right now with the shootings. We're in shooting season again. They're talking about bans. They're wanting to do all this crazy, wacky shit. So we did a good gun episode and safety episodes before, but we're going to get really, really into this as much as we can in 15 minutes. So, guys, I'm going to tell you what, the four main rules of gun safety, okay? Treat all guns as if they're loaded, all right? So if you see a gun, assume it's loaded. Don't fuck around. Don't do stupid shit, right? Never point the muzzle at anything unless you have an intent to destroy that. And in with that, know your target and what lies beyond it. All right? Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to eliminate your target. All right? And, again, the path of a bullet would travel. All right? So just because you see something and you're getting ready to take that target out doesn't mean there's not somebody lying beyond it. Okay? So just get that out of the way. If you're target shooting, if you're practicing, know what's beyond your backstop, because you could accidentally kill somebody. SafePrep, what kind of notes do you have? I know you took some notes.
I got some notes on my FedEx box that my mealworms were delivered in. So I like where you started. So these are pretty much directly from the NRA. And if you guys want to check this out in more detail, you can go to gunsafetyrules.nra.org. But Jester mentioned most of these. You keep your hand off the trigger, finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. Now here's one that is not going to apply in all circumstances, but unloaded till ready to use. Obviously, if you're protecting your house with a firearm, that may not be the case. Be sure you're using the correct ammunition for that firearm. Eye and ear protection, and treat the gun the same whether it's loaded or not. And those are all directly from the NRA's website.
Very good, very good. So one thing I did want to get into here, man, was I wanted to get into some of the statistics, okay? Now,
Me too.
Oh, dude, okay, so it sickens me to death, the shit that's put out there in the media, the people that have all these crazy, wacky TikTok channels about banning guns and these YouTube, I don't know what you want to call them, These nutballs, man. All right, so let's be real here. Mental health plays a big factor in any kind of gun-related accidents or deaths. Okay?
Yep.
So, according to injuryclaimcoach.com, these are statistics from them, and they're getting these statistics from the CDC's website, all right? And I'm sure these might be... No statistic's ever a true statistic, okay?
Well, I've got statistics, too, that'll be totally different from your statistics, so go right ahead.
Well, all right, so first off, they're putting suicide. These are going back to 2018, all right? So that's where they're pulling these statistics from, and 39,740 people died in the United States from firearms-related injuries in 2018, okay? Which is an average about 109 firearm-related deaths each day, according to the statistics. So now I know what you guys are thinking. There's two mindsets out there. Holy shit, almost 40,000 people, or it's only 40,000. That's it. We lose more people to cancer, and you're right. Okay, so the biggest percent of this, 61.5%, so 61.5%, are suicides, self-inflicted gun wounds. All right. Now, when I say that this is a big deal, when I talk about the mental health side, this correlates in with shootings and everything else. If somebody is willing to go out and kill somebody or injure somebody in any way, shape, or form, they're clearly not mentally there, right? Unless I come home early and I find SafePrep in bed with another dude, then I'm going to be like, what the fuck? And then shit happens. But you drove me to that point of crazy, SafePrep.
I know.
All right.
Well, here's my number. My is actually 2018 to 2021. 2,451 deaths, which I think is totally different from your 2018 number. From that 2,431, 1,295 of those were suicides. Now, 138 of those were unintentional. And yeah, so 2018 to 2021, suicides accounted for 1,295 of those.
Gotcha. Okay, so now to go into what mine are saying too, 35.1% are homicide-related firearms deaths. Okay, unintentional deaths, they're coming in at 1.2%, and this is going to fall anything. Your kids get a hold of a firearm and they accidentally shoot their friend, or someone was screwing around, they didn't know what they were doing, and they shot themselves.
That's one of the angles I wanted to come at in the brief time we're going to have on our shows.
Want to be a guest on the show? Email itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com. That's itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com.
If you are listening to this podcast and you are 2A and you have firearms in your house and you have your children in your house or somebody else's children in your house, you have got to be safe.
Exactly. 100%.
Because you have suicides over the last decade of children up to the age of 18 have basically gone up like 66%. So you've got that mental health aspect if you have children in a home with firearms that are loaded and unsecured. And then you've got the unintentional part, which is a much less statistically likely to happen than the suicides, but a lot of these kids are shot by their friend or another family member while they're at somebody else's house that has firearms as well. So that was the biggest point I wanted to make to I think the audience that listens to your show is we want to protect our families. Our families include our kids. You have got to, kids have a different mind than adults. And you can tell your kids not to touch a gun, but when you're not in the room, it's I've run those calls. I have worked child suicides and teen suicides via firearm. And it's such a tragedy.
I 100% agree with you. The goal of the show is survival. So, definitely heed these words. I keep firearms accessible, but out of the reach of the children, right? That's how I do things. Most of what I had stays in a safe. If I need it, things are close by, right?
Right.
Out of the reach of the kids. So the other two more statistics I wanted to mention in here with this is deaths with undetermined intent, right? So that's 0.9%, so less than 1%. So when they're going out and they're doing these investigations, they know what they're doing. And then the last one I wanted to bring up was deaths caused by legal intervention. So this would be deaths due to the hands of law enforcement. Something to that effect is coming in at 1.4, so almost 1.5% of total deaths. But again, go back and just remember what SafePrep just said and what I'm telling you with the statistic, 61.5% due to suicide, all right? Now, everybody seems okay on the surface, and I'm not going to go deep into this mental health side of this at all. But if you've got someone around you that you suspect maybe isn't all there, don't leave them unsupervised with your firearms. Don't give them a gun. Be smart. If somebody doesn't look right, if somebody's not acting right, do not give them access, right? If somebody's coming to you all depressed saying, dude, I lost my wife, I lost my kids, I lost my job, I don't know what to do with yourself, gun therapy may not be the fucking issue for that person. And that's something
Absolutely.
and that's a term we throw around a lot too, gun therapy, which is something I did want to get into a little bit here. So, all right. The gun therapy side of this is, in my opinion, is really, really good. A lot of people like to go out. They like to blow off stress by shooting firearms. They have a stressful day. It's like a thing that they like to do. People get a thrill out of it. They get joy out of it. There's sports shooting. There's all these different types of shooting. One thing I did want to push is if we want these things to continue, safety, 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 because anytime something big goes wrong, the Second Amendment is threatened within the media. It's threatened within government. So it's up to you as a legal responsible gun owner to help keep this alive, right? What else you got over there, SafePrep?
One more thing on the kids. One last statistic from me: 4.6 million children live in a home with at least one gun that's loaded and not secured. Cannot stress enough, if you've got kids in the house, and everybody raises their kids different with firearms. Everybody's got a different maturity level, but kids are kids. But that's a whole lot of kids and a whole lot of guns. So just be careful with that. One other thing I wanted to mention, we talked about, it's the simple stuff sometimes with safety, is hearing and eye protection. And I wanted to take it a step further and talk about when me and you were out on your property a couple of months ago. Something that I did different is whenever we got ready to, we had our own little safety conversations, being sure we were clear and out of the way while we were, shooting Tannerite or trying to. And every time we got ready to shoot, I'm like fumbling for my ear protection. And I was just using, little earplugs. So when we were out there, I'm thinking ahead to a SHTF scenario where I still want to protect my hearing. So I actually went out and bought some. They come in a little container, and they're attached. The two earbuds are attached with a string. So now I can just have it around my neck when I'm ready to shoot. I don't have to go digging in pockets and pouches. And but when you're putting together your bags and stuff, and if you're including firearms and ammunition in those bags, don't forget your hearing and eye protection, because if we're in that situation, healthcare might not exist.
No, you're right. It might not. And I know the last thing anybody's going to do in a firefight is reach for their earplugs, right? But the idea of utilizing the proper PPE when you're shooting it is to me greatly important, right? So have the earplugs, have the eye protection. I practice what I preach. SafePrep knows this. We've shot together. And I won't shoot without glasses. I won't shoot without ear protection, right? To me, it's dumb. It's really stupid to not protect your eyes and ears in these scenarios. And, when I was younger and I didn't give a shit about this stuff, it didn't, I didn't think it mattered. But as I'm getting older and I've learned about accidents people have, and I'm watching everybody that's old around me now, their hearing's going to shit. And it's like, man, just protect what you have. That's all. Your eyes and ears. That's it.
The other thing is training, and whether it's concealed carry training, which is basically legal stuff and how to safely handle a firearm. That training and going out and actually practicing or taking a more advanced course locally at a gun store or gun shop that teaches you how to handle that firearm, draw safely, aim safely, handle things that go wrong while you're shooting. Because if you handle some of those situations wrong, then really bad things can happen with safety.
This is an emergency action message. At approximately 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, NORA is tracking 15 ICBM nuclear missiles inbound to the following cities: Orlando, Miami, Pittsburgh, Dover, Newark, Richland, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, Detroit. This is an extremely deadly situation. Stay tuned. The next emergency message will be a presidential address.